Throughout the year, I've grown both as a reader and a writer by increasing my vocabulary, text analysis skills, and by strengthening my details. For example, in RI7, which involved analyzing and summarizing a text based on its word choice and sentence structure, I was at first given a 3 for not giving enough proof as to if the author met the purpose with their details and their style. However, upon reviewing the material and then taking a test on RI7, I was then given a 4 because I was able to give enough proof about if the author met their purpose. Also, with RI9, I had a bit of trouble with assessing the strength of a text through its details and its counterclaim, and especially with identifying any errors of reasoning. After practicing it a bit more, though, I eventually got the hang of it, and I was able to identify its errors of reasoning in most cases, and also the strength of its details. Ended up getting a 3.5 as well. RI8 and RI10 were a bit tough as well. They had to do with comparing and contrasting two different articles and texts. I had a bit of trouble because I didn't quite know what I was supposed to be looking for, with its style and its purpose, and I had trouble giving proof as to why I thought it suffered and both had strengths. At the start, I was able to get by with a 3, but I didn't quite feel like I was doing it as I should be. And then I learned that it was the proofs is what I was missing for the most part. So then, when it came to the test, I was able to identify the proofs that I needed, and now I feel confident in getting a 4. L2 is another standard that I need to practice on a bit more. It was about using present participles, appositives, and also prepositions in a sentence, as well as just overall grammar. I didn't have much trouble with it when it came to the test, but I really remember beforehand that I needed to practice using the appositives and everything, and also with correct dash placement. W1G was a little difficult in that it required adding mini so whats at the end of each paragraph and giving explanations for details. I was pretty good at giving explanations for details. It was just the mini so whats that I had the most trouble with. Although after some practice, I was able to go from a 2.5 to a 3, now being able to add logical mini so whats onto each paragraph. And I still remain pretty strong with the details. W2A was about writing an introduction that made sense with the essay and made it both interesting to start reading and hooked the reader to finish reading it. And I remember having to practice through that a lot with the shorter stories, and the group discussions helped that a bit too because you wanted to make sure everyone was listening. And when it came to the test, I was able to do really well on it, making the transitions really easy to follow as well as interesting to read. W1C was a little different from the others in that you had to completely acknowledge the counterclaim and also crush it. The tricky part was kind of acknowledging it and giving reasons as to why it was logical so that people on the opposite sides would actually be willing to listen to you, thinking that you knew what they were talking about, and then just having to crush it at the end. That was a little difficult, and it took me a while to get the hang of, but on one of the last tests with W1C, I was able to get a 4 on it due to directly crushing all of the counterclaim, supporting details and everything, and I feel really good about that. W1E was about giving inferential evidence, which is evidence that not only supported your claim, but evidence that could also be built on to further improve your essay. And at first I had trouble with that because I was good at giving evidence, but not really building on it after mentioning it. So after some practice and asking questions, I was able to bring it, I think, from a 3 or 3.5 to a 4, because I was able to get the hang of connecting the evidence with transitions, and finally, when it came to work habits, I was pretty good at that. I had established a good work ethic and everything, in sophomore year or even maybe back to middle school. I can't quite remember. But I remember as the year went on, I took English more and more seriously, and I was able to bring it from a 3 up to a 4 on the most recent one, because I was able to complete all the assignments with my best effort and also lead group discussions. this concludes my self-evaluation. Overall, I feel like I had grown a lot from last year. I now understand all of the learning targets, and I feel confident in that I could get 4s on all of them if I were to do them again. Most of all, I feel like I'll be able to take what I've learned here and apply it to college and my future classes.